What's up, AJ?
Pharmacist Ben, my main man in 50 grand. How's it going today?
What's going on? How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. It's great to see you, as always, on a lovely Monday night.
Yes. You know, I know you advertised phase 1, phase 2 detox, which I want to talk about. I've been meaning to talk about, but you also sent me a really interesting article a couple weeks ago or last week, and we never really talked about it. My colon blew up, said Joe Helen McLean. Yeah. We never talked about that.
We did not talk about that. That was that's a tough scenario.
I know we're supposed to talk about phase 1, phase 2, but so let's talk about phase 1, phase 2, and then you want to talk about the GLP-1 real quick?
I do want to talk about anything that is relevant to the health of our American family, but I do have a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm ready.
What do you think of that?
What do you think of what? Oh,
wow. We got a little action going.
Wow. TriangleDisease.com. All right. Let's work it. I got a little book I written. I got a short little book I wrote on it too. Maybe we could put it up. I got to edit it still. We could put it up there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. You know how we do. More tools for the people to benefit from.
Love it. Except the triangle disease lately, I've been calling it the plane of disease because that third point kind of confuses things a little bit. Right?
It does. But you know what? We deal with people with hypothyroidism and all types of glandular problems. So
hypothyroidism is really interesting because it's probably the most common. It may be the single most common health challenge. Every year, I know I said it before, but every year the top 3 prescription drugs is thyroid medication, and the reason that is because nobody knows how to deal with the thyroid from the medical standpoint. And the reason is because you got to go back to the triangle to deal with the thyroid. You can't deal with the thyroid by itself. You got to go adrenal, blood sugar, digestion. And so, maybe the triangle is important, but those 2 points in the bottom are really what you want to focus on. And that's where the GLP-1 thing comes in. GLP-1 agonist is used for diabetics. I do a radio show before I do this call, and we had a guy call up, and he's like, I've been taking the GLP-1s, and I think it's a miracle. My hemoglobin A1C dropped. I've lost all kinds of weight. I'm not eating as much food. And it's hard to argue with that, right? Well, who can argue with that, right? Those are all great things. But there's always going to be a price to pay because you're putting poison in your body that your body has to get rid of. So this guy wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but it's hard to argue with him. He's right. So how am I going to say?
If you got to take something for the rest of your life, that's not really the way to go.
And Oprah
said when she stopped taking it, she gained 23 pounds.
Exactly.
So you she's like, it's for the rest of my life.
And he's been taking it for a few months. But who's to say, in a year, it's going to start to toxicity is going to start to accumulate. He's going to end up with side effects. We don't know. And this is a very unhealthy guy. But his point was, and it's hard to argue, I lost weight, I'm eating less food, and my hemoglobin A1C dropped. So how can you argue with that? You have to use deductive reasoning. Remember, did we ever talk about deductive reasoning? Did I talk about that with you before?
Sherlock Holmes.
Remember? Deductive reasoning, Watson, or I forgot how he said it, but you start off with a premise and then you work your way down, as opposed to inductive reasoning, where you got a bunch of ideas and you form a theory. That's called inductive reasoning. You induce a theory. You pull up all the small details and you come up with a theory based on all the small details. Deductive reasoning is when you start off with a theory and then deduce points or facts from that theory. So if you start off with using deductive reasoning, if you start off with the theory drugs are toxic, the body has to purify them. They're foreign to the body. The body doesn't recognize them. They got to give you a higher dose because the body's going to attempt to clear it out. That's your theory. Drugs are toxic. then you start to deduce things. One of the things you deduce is you're accumulating poison in your body. You're losing nutrients as your body attempts to clean out the drug. You're putting a burden on the liver, your main detoxifying structure, as well as your gallbladder and even the intestine, which play a role in detoxification. So using deductive reasoning, you can't get around the fact that if you take a drug, you're going to have a problem. Maybe not in the short term, maybe not even at all that you notice, but in the long term, when you take a drug chronically, in order to control your eating behavior, because it's basically what it's about. You know, I'm not going to rip on anybody for taking drugs. Our message is for people who don't want to take drugs. Yes, sir.
Ignorance is bliss. If you don't know that the drugs are putting a toxic load on your body and your liver has to work double time to eradicate toxins, then blissfully happy that you're physically losing weight, etc.
Exactly.
But when you're driving in your car, taking your granddaughter to the soccer match, and your intestine explodes, then you want to sue, because in Europe they have a set of rules that say, "Hey, we have to put a black box on this," but in the U.S. there's no warning for some of these things that potentially could occur.
That's right. And you know, and do you really need warnings? I don't know. It's just common sense to me that a prescription, and maybe it's because I have a background in it, so maybe it's common sense to me, not to the average person.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks. You know, you got to imagine there's a lot of folks who think the medical intervention is the way to go because we don't really know any other way. I mean, I'd never taken a probiotic before I got to longevity, so. You know, it's just one of those things where we don't know what we don't know.
You know what, Alex? Here's another thing. I was just reading this. You know, CVS drugstore, right? CVS drugstores. Okay. Do you know that CVS drugstores just bought Aetna, the health insurance company?
No, they didn't.
And yeah, they just bought Aetna health insurance. They also own a drug manufacturing, generic drug manufacturing. Corvallis, I think it's called, a drug manufacturing company. They also own, I don't know if it's an HMO, but it's a place where doctors prescribe drugs. I think it might be an HMO. That's called vertical integration. They own the insurance company. They own the drugstores. They own the manufacturer of the drugs. They own the place where the doctors are prescribing the drugs. They own everything. And so when we participate in this model, which accounts for $4 trillion in healthcare costs every year, we're just the goose that laid the golden eggs. And then you watch the commercials and the propaganda, and there's a reason why drug companies buy commercial spots on the news. Why do you think that is? Why do you think when you watch Fox News or MSNBC or whatever news you're watching, why do you think you see all these drug company commercials? Because they're not going to go against their sponsors. The news you're going to hear is going to be news that's approved by the sponsors. So it's a complete anti-human con game, and we're falling for it. Are we healthier? Are we healthier with our $4.5 or $4.6 trillion in healthcare costs? Are we healthier by taking, the average American taking, 6 prescription drugs every year? The average elderly person on 3, 4, 5 prescription drugs. Are we healthier for that? No, of course not. Cancer rates are going up and heart disease is going up. And even though there are some things that are changing in a positive way, we really haven't made a dent in cancer. We still have to lose hundreds of thousands, 600,000 people a year, I think, die of heart disease every year. Diabetes, obesity is ridiculous. It's going to be 50% of Americans are obese very, very soon. So the point is that if you want to be healthy and strong, it's not a drug issue. It's not a doctor issue. It's not a medical issue. It's a longevity issue. It's a supplement issue. It's a lifestyle issue. It's a nutrition issue. It's an exercise issue. All the things that we can do to increase our longevity and improve our health. That's what we're here to talk about. And I want to get into phase 1, phase 2 detox for sure. But I want to do quickly because I want to make sure we answer questions. Okay. So go ahead.
So we satisfied the talk about the GLP-1.
The GLP-1, the colon bursting. But
Yeah.
my colon, I got the quote here. My colon blew up, literally blew up. So 12% of American adults, according to this article I'm reading, an estimated 12% of American adults are on a GLP-1 medication. 30 million people. 30 million people. That's crazy. 30 million
Yeah.
people, and they keep coming up with new ones. You know, it's like we don't. We want to. It's like we don't realize we're participating in this incredible scam. I don't know. I find that personally offensive. I would be angry if a doctor said, "Here, get a GLP-1 to lose weight because you can't lose the weight." But look, that's just me. I'm not judging anybody. I don't want to judge anybody for what they do. I don't want to judge anybody for their food. I don't want to judge anybody for their drugs. This isn't a message for people who want to do prescription drugs or eat whatever they want to eat. This is a message for people who don't want to do prescription drugs and don't want to just eat whatever they're automatically whatever's stuck in front of their face.
To
So
wrap
phase
this,
one thing, yeah.
to wrap this topic, I asked you a question maybe a half a year ago, and you skirted over it, and you kind of didn't address it at all. But I had asked you, what makes someone obese? And I was kind of intimating that it could be the seed oils, or something.
It's not
that's
one thing. It's not one
destroying
thing.
the connective tissue, and then
It's not one
maybe.
thing. I didn't skirt over it because it's not one thing. It's a whole bunch of things. It's metabolism. It's how the body processes food and turns it into energy. If the body has too much stuff that it's got to convert into energy and it can't convert it into energy effectively, it'll store it. So seed oils are going to have an effect. Refined carbohydrates are going to have an effect. Stress is going to have an effect. Hypoxia, low levels of oxygen is going to have an effect. Thyroid issues are going to have an effect. It's a bunch of things. So I didn't really skirt over it.
Metabolic
not
syndrome.
One thing. Yeah, it's metabolic syndrome.
Is
That's
the issue.
Main cause of obesity, yes, is metabolic syndrome. Exactly. And there's so many factors involved. But basically, it's food. If you want to boil it down to one thing, it's the food we eat. Eat less, live longer. Eat less, supplement, live longer. They call it the Cron diet: calorie restriction, optimum nutrition.
Yeah, someone mentioned that you said that on Friday. All right, so when we're eating these horrible foods and taking these lovely medications, they're putting a toll on our liver. What do we do to detox this liver?
Well, when people think of detox, they don't realize that detox is biochemistry. When we think of detox, like the liver cleanse, like Dr. Ari's liver cleanse, which is a great product, that's more like mechanical. That flushes everything out. That's a mechanical thing. But the body has biochemical ways of changing toxins to make them less toxic, detox, right? The problem is, and this is a very interesting phenomenon, detoxification occurs in two steps: phase 1 and phase 2. And the problem is that phase 1 can make toxins more toxic temporarily. And if you don't have enough raw material or nutrition or chemistry to go to phase 2, your phase 1 is actually going to make things more toxic. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't complete the two steps, that temporary step between phase 1 and phase 2, where your poison is more poisonous, can actually create more problems than if you weren't detoxifying at all. Does that make sense? Do you follow me? So phase 2 detoxification is incredibly important. So phase 1, let's just break these down, phase 1 and phase 2, okay? Phase 1 involves enzymes. All right? Phase 1 detoxification involves enzymes.
Mm-hmm.
And these enzymes break down the toxin or oxidize the toxin or reduce the toxin. It manipulates the toxin electronically.
And enzymes created where?
Enzymes in the liver. Although it happens in other parts of the body too, but primarily the liver. Detoxification can occur in different parts of the body, but primarily the liver. So phase 1 detoxification temporarily makes substances more toxic, but then phase 2 kicks in, and phase 2 makes the toxin water soluble, so it can be excreted. So phase 1 detoxification is interesting because phase 1 detoxification can be induced by toxins. You ever notice how people who drink alcohol can drink more alcohol than people who don't drink alcohol?
You build up a tolerance? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you're calling it a tolerance. What it is you're inducing phase 1 enzymes. When you drink alcohol, your body makes more detoxification enzymes. In fact, sometimes people will, when they do drugs, they'll do drugs and they'll do them, and then they'll quit. And then they'll do drugs again and they'll die doing the same amount of drugs they used to do. You know what I'm saying? Because their enzyme, they were used to a high amount. This happens. People will quit heroin, for example, and then they'll have a binge and they'll do the same amount of heroin they did before they quit, and it'll kill them because they didn't induce the enzymes. The enzyme levels went down. The detoxification enzymes went down. So you got to be really careful when you're, if you're quitting a toxin, a drug, and then you start doing it again. If you haven't induced the enzymes, you can have a really bad reaction because you haven't induced the enzymes. Your enzyme levels drop. And that's why people who drink a lot of alcohol don't get drunk, or at least they don't get drunk like somebody who doesn't drink a lot of alcohol. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't drink at all. If I do a couple shots, I will be wasted. But if somebody else,
if anybody does a couple shots, they'll be wasted.
No, not necessarily. Not an alcoholic. An alcoholic, I had a friend, she would drink right out of the bottle. She would guzzle it. She wouldn't even feel it. And if I did a shot or 2 shots, I couldn't even talk. You know, so phase 1 enzymes, the point I'm making is phase 1 enzymes can be induced by the toxin itself. That's the point I want to make. Phase 1 enzymes can be induced. You can also induce phase 1 enzymes with nutrition. For example, broccoli or cruciferous vegetables are one of the best natural ways to induce phase 1 enzymes. And anybody who's worried about toxicity should be eating broccoli or Brussels sprouts or cabbage or cauliflower every day. Cruciferous vegetables are powerful phase 1 enzyme inducers. Okay? They're also modulators that control the level of phase 1 enzymes. For example, garlic, rosemary, curcumin, turmeric. There's an interesting drug that will inhibit, or not drug, but a nutrient that will inhibit phase 1 enzymes. And you got to be careful with this one. It's called narogenin, and it's found in grapefruit juice. And if you do narogenin with drugs, narogenin reduces the activity of phase 1 enzymes. And if you do them with drugs you're trying to get high on, a lot of people when they're doing illegal drugs, they'll do grapefruit juice first, and they'll get more of an effect because the grapefruit juice will slow down the detoxification of the drug. But alternatively, if you're on like heart medication or some kind of powerful medication, you want to be careful about grapefruits and grapefruit juice. So the point I want to make is controlling phase 1 enzymes can have a powerful effect on how well your body processes toxins or drugs. The second, Fucoidin, by the way, real quick, Fucoidin can also help phase 1 and phase 2. FucoidZ is a great enhancer of phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so a lot of people consume grapefruit, like the grapefruit diet. Is that like
I don't know. No, I don't know what the grapefruit diet is, so I can't really speak to that. But I don't think it has any. I think that's something different. Grapefruit contains narogenin.
If you're inhibiting enzyme production, then it sounds like that's counterintuitive The grapefruit diet was a thing. I mean, at one point, and I can remember my grandmother loving grapefruits, thinking that it was a food that she should be consuming.
Eating grapefruit or grapefruit juice via narogenin can suppress phase 1 enzyme activity. Yes, that's true. So you can have less, but remember, sometimes phase 1 enzyme activity makes toxins more toxic. Or if you're taking a prescription drug, right? Say you're taking a cardiac drug or a beta blocker, right? You don't want to take grapefruit juice with the beta blocker because it's going to the grapefruit will keep the beta blocker in your system longer. In other words, by suppressing enzyme activity. So my point is, there's things that suppress enzyme activity, phase 1 enzyme activity. There's things that support phase 1 enzyme activity. The best is cruciferous vegetables. That's the best one. Garlic and onion probably have an effect too on phase 1, on phase 1 detoxification. But the real thing the point I want to make is it's important to go into phase 2. It's important to get into phase 2 detoxification so phase 1 toxins don't build up. This is especially important. Women, listen up. This is especially important for estrogen because estrogen has to be detoxified in the phase 1, phase 2 system. And if you're not going into phase 2, your estrogen will become more toxic. And phase 1 modification of estrogen results in something called catechol estrogen. And catechol estrogen is a real big problem for endometriosis and fibromyalgia and leaky gut and cancer and fibroids and cysts and dysmenorrhea and infertility. Estrogen gets a bad reputation, but it's largely because of incomplete detoxification. So going into phase 2 or supporting phase 2 detox is critical. That's the point I want to make here. That's why I wanted to talk about this. And that's where, for example, sulfur comes in. Like we talked about sulfur and sulfation. Sulfation is one of the things that is one of the ways phase 2 detoxification proceeds is with sulfur. So making sure you're getting MSM, making sure you're getting fucoid sulfate or anything with sulfate in it can help. Also, glutathione. You've heard of glutathione. We haven't really talked too much about that, but that's really important for phase 2 detoxification.
NAC helps produce the glutathione.
NAC, the cysteine, yes, absolutely. Sulfur, selenium, glutamine, the amino acid glutamine, the B vitamins, vitamin B6 especially, magnesium, folic acid. These are all important for glutathione. And then there's the methylating agents. Methylation is another phase 2 strategy. So using B12, B6, folic acid, betaine from the betaine HCl, all of these can act as phase 2 support molecules. Another substance is something called glucuronic acid, which you can find precursors to in cruciferous vegetables, also citrus fruits, resveratrol, dandelion, rooibos tea. All of these are good sources of this glucurates, glucaric acid. Actually, mostly citrus and apples. Cruciferous vegetables too. Resveratrol and dandelion will also support phase 2, but it has a slightly different mechanism, and rooibos has a slightly different mechanism. Caffeine actually can help support phase 2 detoxification. Vitamin A can support phase 2 detoxification. So my point is that you want to make sure you're supporting phase 2 detox so phase 1 metabolites don't build up. That's the main point. Does that make sense?
It does, but I have a question.
That's the main point. Yes. Absolutely.
Is there an order in which you want to proceed to make sure you go to phase 1 and then maybe supplement to phase 2?
No, the body will handle all that. You just want to make sure there's raw materials for both. You want to make sure that you have enough raw materials in the system so that phase 1 and phase 2 can be completed effectively. Follow me?
That is fantastic. And I will, put together everything you just said here about that into an article form that we will host on the triangleofdisease.com.
Very nice. Let's send it to me so I can proof it. Okay, but yes, absolutely. That's right.
And then that's important news, because a lot of folks, as you mentioned, will do a mechanical kind of liver cleanse.
Yes.
And really, we need to know what we're doing to be most effective.
Yes, most people, when they think of detox, think of flushing things out, which is, I guess, kind of like detox. But from a chemistry perspective, detoxification is biochemical reactions that occur in the liver.
And then what does lemon and apple cider vinegar, what role are they playing?
Lemon, citrus fruits in general can support phase 2 detox, like I just mentioned earlier. And then apple cider vinegar acidifies the contents of the stomach so that food particles don't build up in the intestine. So the digestion is complete, particularly peptide protein digestion is complete in the stomach. If you don't have enough acid in the stomach, chunks of protein can get into the intestine and ultimately leak into the blood and initiate reactions. So apple cider vinegar is important for the digestive process. Citrus fruits, not just lemon, but all citrus fruits, can help support phase 2 detoxification via this that molecule that I was talking about, glucarate, delta glucarate. So lemons can support detoxification at the liver level through glucuronidation, and then that's the fancy way of saying glucarate, the reaction between glucarate and the toxin. And then apple cider vinegar is not really detoxified; it's more like the stomach.
Okay, so Alto is asking, with a Tangy Tangerine fast, will it cleanse the liver?
Tangy Tangerine is a really important chelating agent, or contains chelating substances, so cleans the blood. And yes, it will provide nutrients that will help you with your liver for sure. So it's more, I would say it's targeted for detox, but it has nutrients that will help support detox.
All right, I think Keely's got a question, but before we get there, Andrew is on YouTube, and he had a couple questions for us. All right, yes. And this is a little complicated, so you might want to get a pen. Given severe terrain collapse with 0% ketones, high endotoxemia, and significant elevated...
Hang on, that's a lot of stuff here. Hang on. Say that again now. Start again.
Given severe terrain collapse with zero...
I lost you there. Start again.
It says given severe terrain collapse with 0% ketone species, high endotoxemia, and significantly elevated EBV, early antigen IgG at 1.9 milliliters, nearly 2 times the positive threshold. How should I approach viral suppression within my gut restoration protocol?
This guy is majorly toxic based on everything he's saying, and it all starts from leaky gut. Toxins are getting into the blood and it's throwing off his immune system. That's all leaky gut. Endotoxemia, which is the key here, means toxemia, toxic blood. Emia means blood. Tox is toxic blood. Endotoxemia refers to the entrance of toxins, bacterial toxins, into the blood through the gut. That's a leaky gut issue. All the things we talk about for leaky gut. Elimination diet. I mean, you can talk about his Epstein-Barr. I think he mentioned his immune globulins. severe terrain collapse. That means everything's falling apart, basically. It all starts with the gut. It's dirty blood. LPS, lipopolysaccharide. Somebody's punching that up here.
That's Andy.
Lipopolysaccharide. Yeah. Is that the guy?
Yes.
Is that the guy, right? Yeah. LPS is endotoxin. LPS are the specific endotoxins. They're pieces of bacteria that get into the blood. So endotoxemia is the entrance of bacterial particles like LPSs, and they wreak havoc. And they are responsible. I suspect that LPS and endotoxemia are responsible for almost all chronic degenerative disease. And I don't really talk about it except to say dirty blood and leaky gut, but that's the mechanism. Dirty blood is endotoxic blood, and dirty blood becomes dirty blood from the entrance of these materials through the intestine. Unless you're injecting, sometimes people inject and toxins will get into the blood, but for the most part, it's endotoxins and LPS, yes. Leaky gut, it's a digestive problem. It's a food problem. It's the first point of the triangle disease. Don't overthink. It's the first point on the triangle disease. Your immune system, this is severe, so it must have been going on for a long time. This doesn't just happen. So the good news is that because it's so severe, you can start to make a dent in this really quickly. Just fasting, just stopping food for a day or two will make a difference. Now, ultimately, you have to eat, and you want to make sure you're on this stuff right here. You see it?
It's the I-26.
I-26. Make sure you're taking this, Andy. I-26.
In case you can't.
Yes. I-26. FucoidZ, collagen peptides, vitamin A, gelatin, fucoid with collagen. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Digestive support. Digestion. Being that EBV is high, puts the immune system, that's Epstein-Barr, I think he's talking about, puts the immune system into cell danger response, which can continue leaky gut. I think he's talking that you get this vicious circle. Yes, that's true, but it all starts with leaky gut.
And then apparently he was told that he had some things that could help him: quercetin, L-lysine, manuka honey, MGO 573, monolaurin.
You don't want to look. I know. Those are remedies that people who don't understand chemistry will tell you about. They're trying to kill things. Monolaurin kills things. What were the other things you said?
Manuka honey, MG.
Manuka honey. No, dude. It's like it's like you have a pipe. I don't know if you remember in the 70s, they would actually pipe industrial waste into the Cayuga River in Ohio, Cleveland. They pump waste, right? So as long as you're pumping waste in, it doesn't matter if you're cleaning up the waste in the river with bacteria or some kind of filtering agent. As long as you got the stream of waste coming in, you're gonna have a problem. So anybody who says use monolaurin for a condition where you've got, yes, tributyrin is good for colonic fuel, but you're playing games here, Andy. It's a food problem. Yes, tributyrin, butyric acid, these are great for the colon. That's absolutely true. But you got a food problem and you got a leaky gut problem. You got to patch that gut up. By the way, tributyrin is great. It's a fancy form of butyric acid, and I love this stuff. But really, you've got a food problem. Stuff is getting into your blood. I would be using this stuff right here, I-26, doing a food diary, patching up the leaky gut. And then anybody who says use monolaurin, that's ridiculous. That's absolute. And manuka honey, really? Not that manuka honey is bad. I mean, it's good stuff, but it's not going to take care of your endotoxemia and your Epstein-Barr, nor is monolaurin. That's a serious problem. I wouldn't mind talking to Andy. Is he around? Andy,
I sent him a link. I don't know that he's has the ability to come on right now.
I'd love to talk to him. Or have him call us. Why don't we do a three-way call with Andy? We'll do a three-way call. Andy, call AJ.
You see this number at the bottom? You see the number at the bottom of the screen? Call that number and ask for code when you call, and they'll make sure they get me your number, and we will try and connect with Pharmacist Ben. We're going to help you. And, in the future, in the near future.
We're going to take care of you. We're absolutely going to take care of you. We're absolutely going to take care of you.
We're going to have some more resources on the triangle of disease, which not only just educates, but provides you with some that you can attempt to use some conditions. Sounds like you got a question. Is that a question that you have for us today?
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yowza, we hear you. Hi, Keely.
Because my sound on my computer is like buzzing out.
And you got a new hairdo. You got a new hairdo.
No, well, you know what? You normally see me with the.
Oh, okay, got it.
That hair day has.
I like it. I like the hair. I like it. It's good. Yes.
What do you have to say about all this talk about biologics? You know, people going into the hospital. You know, I know. What do you think about all this stuff?
You know, it's more of a subject, like a topic to talk about. But in short, a biologic is a drug that imitates the body's immune actions. The body makes these molecules. They're called immune globulins. That come out of blood immune cells that shoot down the bad guys. Right? You with me so far?
Yes, I'm with you.
These antibodies shoot down the bad guys, which is great. That's how the immune system works. What they figured out maybe 30, 40 years ago is if they could somehow get those antibodies to shoot down inflammatory factors instead of the bad guys, you wouldn't have inflammation. You follow me? So they're like heat-seeking missiles that target specific bad guys, right? Like bacteria, say. And that's how they work. What they figured out is if we can get these heat-seeking missiles to target inflammatory factors instead of bacteria, now you wouldn't have any inflammatory factors and inflammation would go down. You're following me?
Mm-hmm.
And these biologics, number one, don't take care of the problem. They take care of the symptom because you still have the inflammation. You just don't have the inflammatory factors that cause the pain. You still have the trigger, but you just don't have the response. You look like it looks like it's not making sense to you.
No, it is making sense. Okay. What I'm thinking about at the same time that you're talking is that, you know, like if somebody goes in with the big C, okay, the first thing that they sign them up for says, let me give you immune therapy. Let me give you this, you know, biologic. So they start talking that.
What's the question? What's the question?
I just really wanted to know, are these biologics that they're promoting, are they safe or?
You can't ask that question. You can't ask that question. I have to tell you the mechanism and you have to decide if they're safe.
Okay.
They're not going to kill you. They're not going to kill you, but they're not going to take care of the problem. So here.
What about the other thing? What about the other thing that they said that a lot of the biologics are mRNA technology?
No, don't go there yet. Don't go there yet. Don't go there yet. It may be, but that's not the point. I want to explain how biologics work because biologics are very cheap to manufacture, but they're very, very expensive to buy. Drug companies they're like $20,000 a month kind of thing to get on a biologic. So, but I want to explain how they work because you see them all the time. There's a reason why they're advertised so much is because the profit margin is so huge on these things. So they want you on them. So, but let me explain how they work because it's really kind of interesting. So a white blood cell, an immune cell, right, makes antibodies. You've heard that term. An antibody is a chemical, a molecule that fights bodies. It's an antibody. It fights bacteria, say. Okay? So you get a bacteria in your body. The immune cell sees the bacteria and it secretes a heat-seeking missile to kill that bacteria. So far, so good?
Right.
The drug companies got this brilliant idea 50, 60 years ago. What if we could take those heat-seeking missiles and instead of having them target a bacteria, we could have them target a cytokine or an inflammatory factor, right? That's causing inflammation. And then you wouldn't have any inflammation, right? You with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
But the problem is the inflammation is protective. You have inflammation there because it's trying to protect you. So now you've shot down the inflammatory factors. You have no more inflammation, but you have no more protection. So it's a crazy strategy, but if you have a lot of pain and you don't want to quit eating the gluten, or you don't want to correct your leaky gut and you have a bunch of inflammation, maybe you want a biologic. But to ask if they're safe or not, think of what you're doing. You're suppressing the inflammation without removing the trigger for the inflammation, the cause of the inflammation.
Symptom, but it doesn't get to the root cause.
Bingo.
Okay.
It's addressing the sign, but it's not taking care of the cause. But because there's so much profit in there, can you imagine $20,000 a month for a drug or more? Can you imagine that? And of course, we don't pay it. The individual doesn't pay it. Who pays it? It goes
Insurance.
to it goes to the 4.5 or 4.6 trillion dollars in healthcare costs. That's where they come from. Biologics make up a huge part of that because they're so expensive. And when you think about it, it's just a little molecule. How expensive is that little molecule to make? Pennies. Imagine turning a penny into $20,000 multiple times.
And they won't even pay
it's a little
$140 they won't even pay $140 for a healthy brain and heart pack.
Well, the problem is insurance doesn't pay for the healthy brain and heart pack. The insurance company doesn't pay for nutrition. If insurance companies pay for nutrition, we would have a different health situation. They don't. They
put it
pay for
into an
biologics.
HSA account.
Yeah, right. You can do that, but they pay for biologics. They don't pay for vitamin C. I say, why are you inflaming? Let's take care of that. What's the cause of the inflammation? Why do a biologic that's going to shoot down? And they make it sound like they're better for you because instead of shutting down the entire inflammatory system like a prednisone or like a steroid does, they just target the specific cytokine or the specific inflammatory molecule that is triggering the inflammation instead of shutting down the entire immune system. So they think they're safer. But really, you haven't taken care. It's the same stuff. You haven't taken care of the problem. And they're really expensive. You couldn't afford them if you didn't have insurance. Most people couldn't afford it if they didn't have insurance.
So then I guess I could say, so stem cell therapy is a biologic as well.
Well, it's biological, I suppose.
Okay.
Stem cell therapy is when they inject stem cells into your into arthritis. So and some people get great benefit from them, but here's the problem. A stem cell requires a niche, N-I-C-H-E, a niche. And the niche is the environment that the stem cell is going to be in, the soil, if you will. You think of the stem cell like a seed, and you got to have the soil. If the soil is not healthy, the seed isn't going to grow. So you may get some quick benefits from stem cells, but in the long run, if you haven't taken care of the cause of the degeneration, you're going to need more stem cells. You're going to need more therapy. So what we're talking about here on this program, what we always talk about is let's take care of the problem, not the sign of the problem. Stem cells take care of the sign of the problem. And by the way, there are some people who really benefit from stem cell therapy. It's not like it's a bad thing, but let's take care of the problem, the degenerative condition, the metabolic syndrome, the nutritional deficiency, the inflammation, the toxicity. You know what I'm saying? That's where we really want to focus, I think.
Yeah, well, I ran into a few individuals who wanted to do stem cell therapy, but they took their own stem cells and, they're like 60 years old instead of taking like the umbilical cords of babies or, from the placenta or whatever. And they were having these discussions because some of them are doctors who are actually doing it. And let's just say you need to have your knees done. So if you do one knee, or whatever, it's like $5,600. If you do both, then they'll give you a cut deal at like $8,700.
I don't want to, I got a lot of friends who are physicians who do them, and people get good results with it. But if you're going to do stem cell therapy, do your glucogel caps with it.
Yeah, I agree. Right. And then the only other thing is that, they were saying, well, we hear that these are this new technology now, and we really can't trust them. So, what do I do? And I said, well, I know somebody I can ask.
That's the stem cell therapy, and it does work for some people, but if you don't take care of the problem, likely you're going to end up, it's only a temporary fix. So if you want to do stem cell therapy, do it and get on your healthy bone and joint pack.
Yeah, you know what? But
in fact, that's one of the things we should be talking about this. For people who want to do stem cell therapy, for people who want to do biologics, for people who want to do GLP-1 agonists, let's get them on nutrition to support the GLP-1 agonist, the biologic, or the stem cell therapy. If you're going to do that, you might as well get on nutrition to support it, and you get better results.
Right,
I always say nutrition. Let me just say this real quick. Sometimes people say, "Oh, well, these nutrients interfere with my drugs," which I think is, crazy question. But they ask, no, your nutrients will make your drugs work better. So if you're getting stem cell therapy, the Mighty 90 will make your stem cell therapy work better. And if you're getting stem cell therapy, wouldn't you want every single tool at your disposal to make that therapeutic intervention work more effectively?
You would think.
Yeah. So it's just getting on a biologic stem cell therapy or whatever it is, GLP-1 agonist, is just another reason to get on a good nutritional supplement program.
All right. Thank you, my dear.
My problem with what you just said is if you're going to spend $5,700 on some sort of stem cell therapy, why not spend $5,700 worth of nutrition? Call us, spend the $5,700 worth of nutrition. You might not need that stuff. You won't listen.
That's true.
You give me a $5,700 budget for 12 months of nutrition, you're going to be a new person.
You can get really. That's right. But for people who say, "Hey, I want to be on the stem cell therapy. My insurance company's paying for it, whatever," at least get on the Mighty 90 to make your stem cell therapy work better.
It looks like we have Alto in here who was from YouTube, has a question. We're going to get right to you, but we got a question that came in from Kathy. With a question that came in from Kathy, all my organs tested great. Then I had a severe case of salmonella from a peanut butter brand. It was recalled.
Ooh,
I lost 53 pounds.
Gosh.
But I lost 53 pounds from 220 to 165. I'm 5'7", which is a lot of muscle and strength. After recovering, organ tests were good, but a year later, the liver tested abnormal. My diet is very good. Fresh, whole, organic foods, eggs, some grass-fed meat, no gluten, no sugar, no processed foods, no bread, pastries. Do you recommend a liver cleanse? Could something be hiding in the liver?
A liver cleanse would never hurt. Doesn't hurt. I don't know if anything's hiding in the liver, but a liver cleanse is not going to hurt you. Absolutely not. There could be some kind of residual damage. If you had a case of salmonella that caused you to lose 53 pounds, that's pretty severe. That's a lot of vomiting and diarrhea. I've had food poisoning, and I lost like 7 pounds. And that was with a lot of vomiting and a lot of diarrhea. So if you lost 53 pounds, that's pretty significant. I can only imagine.
You lost 7 pounds?
I lost 7 pounds a long time ago. I had severe food poisoning.
How do I order some of this food?
You don't want it. You don't want it. You don't want it. You do not want it. Food poisoning is god awful. God awful.
Yeah.
People would die. It wasn't that long ago. People would die from food poisoning routinely. Like 100 years ago, 150 years ago, they would die from food poisoning all the time. 150 years ago. Go ahead.
150 years ago?
Go ahead. I was going to say 150 years ago, the food supply, except for people who are growing their own food, but industrial food, it was really dangerous to eat food 150 years ago because they didn't know about bacteria. So everything rotted. Water, especially with drinking water, was really a problem. That's why everybody drank. There were countries where everybody was like chronically drunk because they wouldn't drink water. They would only drink beer. They would drink watered down beer all day long because they couldn't drink water because you could die if you drank the water. So they would drink alcohol. In Europe, in the Middle Ages, and in the early part of the Industrial Revolution, like the 1700s, 1800s, they would drink beer all day. Kids, everybody would drink watered down beer, but the whole country would be drunk basically all day long. So the food supply was really dangerous 150 years ago, and food poisoning. People would die of food poisoning, not to mention cholera and typhoid and or all kinds of horrible
Black
plague and all. Yeah, the Black Death and all that. So you wouldn't want it been around.
Also, what question you have for Pharmacist Ben? Alto, you are live on Pharmacy Bites. Going once. All right, so one comment that he put on here says, I've been hitting SM hard, over 30 grams a day I'm gathering.
Wow, 30 grams? That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. I haven't heard anybody doing that much. He says he's feeling good. It's pretty non-toxic, but that's quite a bit.
Yeah, you also your microphone, you have to allow your microphone in the top left corner of your browser in order to unmute yourself. All right, so that is almost the totality of the questions.
All right, it's perfect timing.
Now let's the gentleman that was on with us that we had asked a question for earlier said something about phase 3.
Yeah, phase 3 is elimination. Yeah, phase 3 is elimination. I don't really talk about that because that's just elimination. Phase 1 and phase 2 are biochemical. Phase 3 is elimination.
All right. Well, Pharmacist Ben. Okay, so now Renee is asking how to get rid of cracked heels in your feet. Had it for years.
Yeah.
Get it to go away for a week, but
a few things. First of all, retinol, topical retinol. Go on TrueTreatments.com, get our retinol serum, 1%. It's amazing for cracked heels. Also, omega-6 healing cream. Those are topical. Internal, number 1, essential ultimate EFAs. Number 2, vitamin A. Number 3, FucoidZ. And then lastly, the feet, the bottom of the feet are the end of the body. They're the extremities. And oftentimes problems in the bottom of the feet are related to blood sugar. So you may want to consider, if you have a blood sugar problem, working with your blood sugar, healthy blood sugar pack. So go on TrueTreatments.com, get omega-6 healing cream, retinol serum, 1%. They'll go away. It'll take about maybe a week if you do it every day. It'll take about a week. You'll have soft. It's really unbelievable what it'll do for your feet. However, if you want to address it internally and metabolically, you want to, number 1, use ultimate EFAs, FucoidZ, and vitamin A. And then number 2, focus on blood sugar issues, dysglycemia. I'm sorry. I'm not hearing
people get vitamin A? It seems like
supplements. Longevity doesn't have any real high concentration of vitamin A products that I know of. You need about 20,000. Oh, you have the healing cream already. Omega-6 healing cream. That's great. Yeah, that's amazing on feet, but retinol with it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So where would one get a therapeutic amount of vitamin A?
It's cheap. It's readily available. It's everywhere. 10 to 20,000 IU a day. You don't want to take it by itself though. You want to take it with all your other Mighty 9 essential nutrients. And you'll get a small amount of vitamin A in the Healthy Start pack and Healthy Bone and Joint pack. But I would take higher doses for really cracked feet, cracked heels.
Does do your products? Here's Alto. Do your products, are they? Do you provide your products to places where you get a pedicure? Do they know about your products?
Some places. I mean, not all of them, but some places, yeah. Like nail salons. Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to sell them, Yeah, if somebody wants to sell them there. Yeah. Hey, AJ, I'll give you a big cut. I'll give you a big cut. Big piece of the action.
I get a cut? All right.
Yeah, I'll give you
I know plenty of nail salons.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Alto, unmute yourself and ask Pharmacist Ben your question.
Hello.
Hi, Alto.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? Yeah. I've been doing over
Hey.
streams of MM,
30
even
grams,
100.
30.
But my guts has gone
No,
really,
100
really
grams.
good.
Well, that's very good to know.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. I never heard.
I
I
just
didn't know
keep.
people were taking that.
I've just been. Yeah, no, really, and yeah,
All
I
right.
can't
Thank you
complain.
for sharing that. Thank you for sharing.
But
I
why I
did not know
really,
that. I did.
wanted to get on was to say thanks for your knowledge, and I've
Oh,
got a
thank
mum,
you.
right, like everyone,
Yeah.
and
Okay. Lucky
yeah,
you.
she's 86, and
86.
yeah, well,
Okay.
not that lucky. Yeah, but she's got some really, really, really bad swelling in the legs.
Yeah, that's not
You know,
uncommon if she's 86.
and
How's her heart? How's the heart?
yeah,
How's her heart? That's the first thing. Is it
nah,
cardiovascular? Does she have heart disease?
pacemaker, mate, pacemaker.
Oh yeah. It's a
Yeah,
heart issue.
she's got a pacemaker now. Yeah,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
But she's got a hard head, and always the doctors like the savior. But 2 years
There's
ago,
always
she
someone.
had encephalitis in the brain
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So she had to learn to
Encephalitis.
walk again,
Yeah.
talk.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Are you in
So
Australia, Alto?
yeah,
Where are you? Are you in Australia?
yeah.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, Adelaide.
Well, good for you.
So yeah. And
All right.
well,
Do you have a question? Anything I can help you with?
I'm thinking, yeah. Well, I'm thinking, Tangy, I want to get her to at least try that,
Yeah,
incorporate that.
You know what? For people who don't want to supplement older
Like,
people, at
if I
least get
can
them on
get
the at least get them on the BTT.
Mm.
At least that. All right. Thank you,
Yeah,
Alto.
I couldn't
Appreciate
get her
that.
to take the
And thanks for
MSM.
sharing.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Well,
Hey, thank you, Tom.
all right.
Also, send a
thanks.
text message.
What, AJ?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
Oh,
doing there,
lost him.
AJ.
All
You're
right, I'll let
monkeying
you
around.
go.
Thank you, Alto.
Thanks.
All right, AJ. I gotta move.
Pharmacist Ben.
Gotta go.
Also, text the number you see on the screen, and we'll connect you with some folks that are in Australia that may be able to help you. Pharmacist Ben, here you go. Ben, I have dry
Thank
skin.
you.
What do you suggest? Do you see on the screen?
Oh, there's I'll tell you, you want the omega-6 healing cream, but really you want to work internally. Omega-6 healing cream is the absolute most incredible skin softener you'll ever use, plus it's first aid for burns. It was originally a burn cream. Omega-6 healing cream, TrueTreatments.com. But call us on Friday and we'll talk about dry skin internally. Maybe that's our topic for Friday.
Okay, we can talk about dry skin and address all the commercials I see for beef tallow facial cream.
We'll do it. That sounds like a deal. All right. Thank you, AJ.
All right, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good night.